magic. Perhaps the most prominent thing in all fiction, it is the glue that holds together the fabric of fantasy itself. And while in many different universes magic operates with different mechanisms and through different means, what if I told you all of it led to the same place? It was all different sides and aspects of the same all-encompassing magic. Welcome to HeadCanon, the show where I reveal to you my HeadCanon.
HeadCanon, an idea, belief, or aspect of a story that is not mentioned in the media itself, but seems to make sense to the consumer and is adopted into their own personal canon.
In order to tie in all of your favorite franchises, I have to start with a more obscure franchise, a book series called The Children of the Lamp by P.B. Kerr. Within the books, the characters talk about the cliched idea of the four elements: air, water, earth, and fire. However, he also introduces this new idea of the four celestial elements: space, time, spirit, and luck, which govern the physical elements. And the core of the theory is that each of these celestial elements is a path to magic that many of your favorite franchises take. So let's get into that. So first, I'm going to talk about luck. I'm going to talk about luck specifically because it's different from the rest in that it's something you have to be born with. It's not something that can be achieved externally. The forerunner of luck, the using luck, is the book Children of the Lamp. In it, the jinn or genies, whatever you want to call them, have the ability to sort of manipulate luck. And that sounds weak, but when you think about it, luck is everything. Probability is what creates universes. When I flip a coin and I catch it and I look at that coin, I've actually created multiple universes, one wherein the coin lands on heads, one where it lands on tails, maybe one where it lands on its side and does that weird spinny thingy before falling over. Either way, like many different universes have been created. And those with the power of luck have the ability to manipulate reality itself by reaching into these alternate realities and sort of bringing it into theirs, or steering their own universe through its own trail of probability. Many different franchises that use this are any franchises where people who just have this innate ability without needing to draw on any outside force or whatever, just have the ability to manipulate reality. So you have gods, like in the Percy Jackson series or in the Kane Chronicles, which I'll get to later, or you have the jinn from Children of the Lamp and so forth. And the next path to magic is spirit. Now, for the sake of this theory, I'm going to call spirit magic bending. And that's because the forerunner of this is obviously Avatar: The Last Airbender and Avatar: The Legend of Korra. Now, spirit is the ability to draw either within a spiritual energy within oneself or to draw from an external spiritual entity. So examples of internal spirit magic or internal bending would be the Dragon Ball series, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball GT, Dragon Ball LMNOP, and also the Naruto series, Naruto and Naruto Shippuden. Some other examples of drawing internally are, like I said, the Avatar: Legend of Korra and Avatar: The Last Airbender, because they get their powers externally at first from a giant lion turtle spirit, and then it becomes internal, and it's also congenital for some reason, which kind of bears traits from luck, but that's complicated. I'm not going to get into that. And some examples of external bending or spirit magic, whatever you want to call it, would be Star Wars. They draw on the Force. Screw the freaking midichlorians. It's magic. And one more example of drawing spirit magic externally would be, again, the Kane Chronicles, because they draw from the power of the gods, the Egyptian gods, and in one case they're even literally possessed by those gods to get their powers. So that's about as spirit magic as you get. And next we have space magic. And for the purposes of this theory, I'm going to be calling space magic alchemy. Again, you can probably figure out the forerunner of this part of the theory. It's obviously the Full Metal Alchemist. Now, space magic, of course, draws on the essence of space itself, using shapes to program the universe to do what you tell it to. In Full Metal Alchemist, this is circles and stuff. In other works are Naruto again. They use a combination of spirit, like they use their inner chakra, but they also use hand signals and blah, blah, blah as their shapes to program the universe. So it's also kind of a form of alchemy. And then yet another example of this is, again, the Kane Chronicles. Seriously, read this series. It's really cool. And you'll see all different aspects of magic in this series. It's because constantly in the book they stress the importance of shapes. Obelisks are portals, and their wands are shaped like boomerangs because reasons. And yeah, so that space magic, it's alchemy right there. And finally, we have the path via the celestial element of time. And for the purposes of this theory, we're going to be calling it sorcery, because in the passage of using time to use magic, you use both ancient artifacts and ancient languages. Like you got your wands from Harry Potter's and you got your dragon languages from the Skyrims. Bogas firwa nangain wo mindorandar. And again, the Kane Chronicles, because they speak ancient Egyptian in order to use their spells. So literally, the Kane Chronicles uses all 4 paths to magic. They're like the strongest magicians to ever exist ever. And finally, all magic can actually be put into one of 2 attributes. It's this huge tie-in of magic's morality. You've got Isfet and Ma'at in the Kane Chronicles, which is chaos and order. You've got the dark side and the light side in Star Wars. You've got Padome and Anu in the Elder Scrolls. And the thing that's interesting about this is it's not actually the mortal sense of right and wrong. Light magic and dark magic don't have to be good and evil respectively. Instead, it's chaos and order. The idea of creation and an order as opposed to destruction and chaos. Both have their times and their place and their purposes. They don't have to be inherently good or evil either way. And so yeah, that's the final tie-in for all the magic. Thanks for watching. I hope that I blew your mind. And until next time, stay schmexy and trust no one. And welcome to the segment of HeadCanon where we, you and I, make our own HeadCanon. You see, every country, every culture when it begins has its own mythology, its own gods and heroes and stories of conquest and what have you. I want us to do the same thing for the internet because I consider the internet to be its own country, its own existing entity, completely separate from any country ties or whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to challenge you in the comments below to create your own pantheon of internet gods. You can just create one god, you can create like 8 or 9 or 12, doesn't matter, just whatever comes to you, just put it in the comments. And next month, on the first episode of March, I will update you on the gods, and yeah, maybe one day we'll have a website, I'll put it on a page, and we can look through it, read stories that I've created based on what you've given me in the comments. So there you go, do that. Bye-bye.